So let's talk about CCW insurance. CCW insurance is probably one of the most important things that you can do to help yourself before you even leave the house. I can't stress how important it is. Here's the level of importance that it falls under in this order. Buy yourself a pistol. Next, buy yourself some CCW insurance. Then buy yourself a box of cartridges. It's that important. When you do the homework, you're going to come to find that when you get to your short list, you're probably going to have a couple of these on your short list. Just like your auto insurance, everybody's got a different auto insurance policy with different coverage and different providers. Some people are Progressive, some people are the General, some people are Mercury Insurance, some people go with Farmers. Everybody's different. You have to find out what works best for you and what works best in your budget and the type of coverage that you actually need for yourself. But I genuinely do believe that, like I said, when you come down to your bottom line three, USCCA or CCW safe are probably going to be on the short list. I myself personally, I am a USCCA member. I do not work for USCCA. I am a USCCA certified instructor. However, I am a member of USCCA for the simple reason I believe in their product. And I think that for me and my house, it is the correct answer to the problems that we would be facing. Let's give an example. It's Friday night, Memorial Day weekend. You find yourself in the world's most dangerous parking lot. You know, the one where the guy in the blue vest says, "Hi, welcome in." Your worst day just happened. It's Friday, Memorial Day weekend. The cops show up. Do you think they're just going to hand you your pistol and say, "Thanks for solving our problem there, citizen. Have a nice day. You're good to go"? It doesn't work that way, folks, let me tell you. So I told you a little bit about my background. I'm a retired peace officer. I'm a retired volunteer fire chief assistant. And when I retired, my beautiful bride said, "You're not just going to sit on the couch and roll over and die." Average statistic for peace officers that retire, live for 2 years. She actually likes me. She's not going to let me do that. So we started a private investigations company. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, I'm not Magnum PI. No, I'm not Kojak. But we work with defense attorneys only. And we work with a public defender's office in the neighboring county from which I live in. So don't worry, if you're on workman's comp and your water scan, I don't care, because I don't do that. And if your significant other is cheating on you, I have empathy, I'm sorry, but I don't do that. I only work with defense attorneys. So I'm very well versed, and I come with a very unique perspective on what happens in the courtroom after your bad day happens and the cops show up. So I speak with this with some pretty good authority and some really good credibility when I tell you about this. Sadly, some of you out there have had to hire an attorney. You know exactly how expensive attorneys can be. Your average cost for a decent self-defense attorney in a self-defense situation is going to run you a minimum of $6,000 to $10,000 just to have the attorney say, "I'll take your case." It's what we call retaining an attorney. $6,000 to $10,000 minimum, right out the window, just for the guy to say, "Yep, I'll take your case." Chances are, if your world's worst day happens and you get arrested and they take your gun and they take you down to the jail, you're probably going to be charged with murder. Penal Code 187, and California. The minimum bail is $250,000 for somebody who was charged with murder in California. 10% of $250,000 just to bail out, you're looking at $25,000. And then you're looking for another $10,000 on top of it just to be able to get bailed out of jail. Not many people actually have $25,000, $30,000 laying around in a safe. Most of us have some equity in our house. Do you have enough equity in your house to be able to get a refinance loan for $25,000, $30,000? And how long is it going to take for you to actually get that? 30, 60 days? That's 30 to 60 days that you're going to be sitting in jail before you even have the money to bail out. So when you get yourself some CCW insurance, you're going to actually have a phone number to call. They're actually going to pick up the phone, and they're going to have an attorney by your side bailing you out within 24 hours from the time that you called. They're covering that cost. Your monthly payment to your CCW insurance covers that cost so that you can get out of jail. There are a lot of other benefits that go along with it, such as being able to get assistance for your time off of work, being able to get your firearm reimbursed so that you're not stuck without your firearm, because your firearm is now impounded and is part of the evidence. If you don't have this, chances are you're going to be sitting in jail for a long time. Help yourself before you even leave the house. Get yourself some CCW insurance. Much like the different types of firearms that are out there, you got to get what works best for you. It doesn't matter if it's a SIG, it doesn't matter if it's a Taurus or Staccato or a Saturday Night Special. You find what works best for you, what becomes the extension of you. And that's the kind of gun that you should buy. Well, the same thing goes with your CCW insurance. You need to do the shopping. You need to find out what it is that works best for you and gives you the coverage that you need. We're going to watch an excerpt from a live class that we just did. And this is going to be from a friend of mine named Sean. He works for USCCA. And he's going to answer all of those different questions for you right here on this video. We'll join you as soon as Sean's over with.
Sean? Morning. Good to see you, sir. Absolutely.
All right, so good morning, everybody. How are we doing today? Good? We're awake? Excited to get a California concealed carry permit. Awesome. First non-resident, right? That's even better. So, with that being said, you just heard a compelling reason why you should have some kind of protection, right? To protect yourself after you've had a self-defense incident. So, is that all you need, just the insurance?
No.
No? So when it comes to self-defense, there's actually three parts to that fight. Before the fight, during the fight, and after the fight, right? And there's three things that you're going to need to survive a self-defense encounter. How about the right knowledge, education? That's what you're doing today, is you're getting that knowledge from California. What is required to conceal carry legally in California? What are the rules of the game that you've got to follow? Very important. Is that all the knowledge you need? No? What else might you need? How about understanding situational awareness, threat identification, threat avoidance? What's the one fight you win 100% of the time?
When you don't get it.
That's right, the one you walk away from, the one that you're never in, is the one that you win, right? Because you're not out of any money, you're not out of any injuries, you're whole. So if you can identify that threat and avoid it first, you've won the fight before it even started. But if you can't just get away, now you gotta understand when, where, and how you fight, right? And your gun is what? It's the last resort, right? But it might be the first option and the only option. And so with the USCCA, you guys all just got one of these forms, right? On the back here, we got the check boxes. We're gonna start at the top. Anybody heard of the USCCA before?
Yes.
A few of you? Awesome. So any members? Oh, geez. One, two. You have 6 members. That's awesome. You guys are up to speed. So let me see, how long have you been a member?
About a month.
Awesome.
Yep. Got my
Maybe
free swag.
3 months? Okay.
5 years.
5 years, so you've seen some changes?
I was 5 years, but I let it lapse, so I need to.
We can take care of that today. Absolutely. How long have you been?
4 years.
4 years, so you've seen some changes as well.
About a year and a half.
Awesome, and you've seen some changes that year and a half. So with that being said, I'm going to give a recap of the membership benefits to you today. And for those that aren't members and haven't heard about what actually we do, the USCCA, United States Concealed Carry Association, is actually a training company. We started off 22 years ago as a magazine, the United States Concealed Carry Magazine. The articles were so well written that the subscriber said, how do I learn what you're giving me in information in this magazine? And so we became a training company. And we pride ourselves on a mission statement of saving lives through education, training, and legal protection for acts of self-defense. So that first leg of the USCCA is this top section with check boxes. You got access to over 1,200 different classes, e-guides, tutorials, courses, video series, checklists like emergency preparedness, home defense. Did you know that your factory doors for your home, your front door matter of fact, ships with a 1-inch screw in the hinges? How many kicks, if the installer never changed those screws out, does it take for a bad guy to kick in your front door?
1 or 2.
That's right, 1 to 2 kicks. At 60 joules, that's one good donkey kick. Can you respond? If you're sitting there having a sip of your favorite beverage as you're watching the game, bang, door kicks in, can you respond?
Yes.
You're behind the curve though, aren't you? Because they're already in the house, already aggressing you, and you're saying, what was that noise? How does it affect me? What do I do next? And am I even armed in my own home? Yeah, right? Are you sitting there concealed carrying in your own home? Or have you staged your home? And so we cover a lot of this stuff. Now, if you actually change those screws in your hinges and your striker plate from a 1-inch screw to a 3-inch screw, you go from 1 to 2 kicks to 17. Now do you have a chance to respond? Bang, bang, bang. What is that? Oh, you're kicking in my door. Let me get my family to a designated safe room, barricade arm, and initiate 911. Now you can respond, right? That's one small check in our checklist. We've got so much stuff in there. Emergency preparedness, stop the bleed. Everything from situational awareness all the way up to advanced home defense. There's a lot there. Take what you need, leave what you don't. The videos are broken down into 5 to 15-minute segments. That's great. You can get the knowledge. Can you carry a firearm on college campus?
Nope.
Well, what if you want to go to like a UNR game here in Nevada, in Reno? You can't carry a gun, so how are you going to survive that, right? You still might have to defend yourself. Well, we got 8 videos in a 2-part series that talks about surviving college campus without a firearm. There's a lot of useful information. Now, when it comes to the physical training, we got to get those reps and sets in, right? We got to actually know how to use our firearm or defensive tool that we choose to use and be proficient with it. We don't want to sit there and say, I've got it, right? I love props. So, Glock 17 replica, right? I own a gun, therefore I have a plan. Is that accurate?
No.
No. Just owning it is not the plan. You have to know how to use it. And so part of the membership is we've got dry fire drills. We can go through those reps and sets. Trigger control, muzzle control, grip, right? Draw stroke. How do you carry? How do you access? All very important. We've even got the ability to put a light or a laser on the bottom of our training gun so you can actually do your low light training. We have that in our curriculum. Use it. And then go to the range and do our live fire drills. Get that physical training. The knowledge was before you got in the fight. The training is for you to survive the fight. But there's no substitute for an in-person training. That's why we actually have over 1,700 instructors across the country. Get with an instructor, get that physical one-on-one, and hone your skills so you can win that fight if it ever comes to you. But now, like you heard just earlier, you do everything right, can you still find yourself being prosecuted?
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know this is a California class. We're in Nevada right now. In Nevada, if you were to kill somebody in self-defense, are you innocent until proven guilty in a court of law?
You're guilty until proven innocent.
That's exactly it. You're guilty in the state of Nevada until proven innocent. The burden of proof falls on the slayer that the slayer acted in righteous self-defense, not in the spirit of revenge, and the person slain was actually the assailant. That's in your Nevada revised statutes. Are all laws across the country the same? No. California, even so. That's different, right? The USCCA actually has a reciprocity app that you can use to find out what the laws are across the country. So you know when you're going from Nevada to California, what do you have to follow? What are the differences? And it's interactive. You can actually click on that law and it'll take you with the link to the actual full law so you can do the deep dive so you can stay out of trouble. But now let's talk about you've defended yourself and now you've been arrested. I'm not going to go deep dive into it because you already heard most of it, right? But you're going to be arrested. You're going to have one phone call. Who are you calling tonight? I know 6 of you are calling the USCCA, right? The Corrective Response Team. Because you call that number, you're going to have somebody answer that phone within under a minute. We're averaging 20 seconds. Because we take in almost 4,000 calls every month from members of the USCCA that had near miss or all the way having to defend themselves. They need their attorney. What do you guys think about 4,000 people calling every month saying, I need help? How does that make you feel? Well, it makes me feel pretty good that somebody's going to answer that phone in about 20 seconds when I have that call I need to make. That gives me peace of mind that I know that I have help after I've had to fight for my life. Now, a quick response team, they're going to ask you, do you need your attorney? So who here has an actual attorney that they have on retainer? Well,
Not for this.
a specific attorney?
Yeah, it's business attorney, not a.
Okay.
So I have an attorney on retainer, but it's not for this kind of thing.
But it's important that you have it for whatever reason you have it for, right? For your business. Because you know that if something goes wrong, you really need them. And you don't want to figure out who you're going to use after you need them. Because it's already too late.
And if I didn't have USCCA, I'd call him to say, who's my defense attorney?
Who do you recommend? Who's good, right?
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the USCCA, what you have, if you don't have an actual attorney you know that is qualified to represent you in court, the USCCA has a network of over 1,500 attorneys nationwide that have no less than 5 years, current and active, self-defense Second Amendment experience. And they are good. Now, Reno is really close to California, right? Absolutely, we're like 20 minutes and you're already in California. That being said, a lot of the attorneys that are in northern Nevada are able to do law in California. And there's attorneys in California that are able to do law here. Now, with USCCA, we have 5 attorneys in this immediate area. There's 3 right here in Reno. There's 1 in Dayton, 1 in Minden. Kind of give you an example of what these attorneys, their qualifications are. The guy in Minden used to be a judge in Las Vegas. They're very knowledgeable, they're good. And the ones that are here are quick response attorneys, meaning they're gonna come to your jail cell tonight. So if you're in Reno and you're acting up and you get arrested, well, they'll come to your jail cell tonight and get you bailed out. That's pretty awesome. Can you imagine Friday night on a 3-day weekend, somebody kicks in your door, you have to shoot the bad guy and you're the one that's getting arrested. You wanna sit until Tuesday morning between the hours of 10 and 2, or do you wanna go home Friday night? I'm going home Friday night if I can. So with that, your attorney's going to have access to your legal benefits. That's the bottom section here with all the check boxes. Starts off with, how about $250,000 cash bail per incident? Per incident, that covers $2.5 million. And we've had members hit $2 million. Quite honestly, it's not hard to get there, depending on the number of assailants, the number of people that were injured, and what you did. That being said, let that attorney bail you out. You go home, you rebuild your life, and let the attorney deal with the courts because they get a no-limit defense fund for both criminal and civil litigation against you. Does not matter what it costs for expert witnesses, investigators, attorneys' fees, or court costs. Those are paid for. That's pretty awesome. Any idea what the average time of I defend myself? My day in court, especially if somebody was killed.
Couple months.
Yeah.
6 months to a year.
No, you're going to be going about 2 to 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it is not over quickly. Unless it's a high publicity case, you're going to go through a couple prosecutors who are going to try and get you to take a deal, right? And if you don't take that deal, they're going to get another prosecutor in there and another one. And you're paying for your attorney to show up in court every time. And then you have the trial, expert witnesses. They're expensive, right? Investigators, you're going to need them. All paid for. Didn't come out of your pocket. Now, can you be criminally innocent but civilly liable for charges?
Yes.
Yeah. like you just heard, you're gonna have the family members come after you, but what about the bystanders? If you're using a firearm to defend yourself, what's behind the bad guy? The house, the car, the dog, the people. We're not trying to shoot those things, but if you miss, or you have a through and through where it comes in and comes out the other side, who did you just shoot? What did you just shoot? You were responsible for that. And that's why you have $2 million a year of civil liability coverage to pay for those civil damages. I am not telling you to go out and shoot at random people behind the bad guy. But if it happens, at least you have the civil coverage. Now, can you guys get hurt defending your lives?
Yes.
Yeah, by sheer nature that you must be in fear of death or great bodily harm in order to use lethal force to defend your life. It kind of implies you could get hurt. So, you guys still have like mortgages and rent and car payments and credit card bills and food that you gotta provide for yourself and your family? And if you're hurt and you can't work, how are you gonna do that? Well, as a member of the USCCA, you actually get up to $10,000 of lost wages within the first 30 days of the self-defense incident, so you can pay your bills. That is pretty awesome. And then if you have to go to court to testify for your freedom, now you fought for your life, you get up to $750 a day of lost wages when you go to court. It's designed to keep the impact on you as little as humanly possible. You just had to fight for your life. Why should it be more difficult, right? On top of that, once you're done with the whole trial, you're done, and you've been exonerated, you were righteous in your self-defense, you get up to $5,000 in attorney's fees to make sure your case is permanently sealed and or expunged. Comes off your background. That's pretty awesome. Don't have it follow you for the rest of your life. Now, those are pretty good, right? Those benefits, they're good in all 50 states and the 14 U.S. territories. How does that make you feel? You can travel this country and not have to worry if you have to defend yourself. As long as you're the innocent party, you didn't start that fight, and you're not the commission of or the furtherance of a crime where self-defense cannot be claimed as self-defense. And what we mean is, you're not out there robbing people and you're not out there selling drugs, right? Hey, these are my drugs, stay away, I'm gonna shoot you. No, none of that stuff. Because you're gonna be charged with a crime, that's what I'm saying. As long as you acted in self-defense and you were out already starting a fight, call USCCA. Yes, sir.
Does USCCA cover someone who is carrying in a state in which they don't hold a concealed carry permit?
Now, there's a caveat to that. If you're pulled over in California, you're carrying a non-compliant firearm that has a high-capacity magazine, over 10 rounds, that is on you, okay? You're in California, and let's say some tweaker attacks you and your family, and you have to defend yourself. You call the USCCA and say, I had a self-defense incident, I need my attorney. We're going to say yes. Now, if going through that trial, because you're going to have everything all at one time, defuncto, you have the protections, you have the legal protections for the act of self-defense, everything is charged at one time. If they say, well, you're innocent you're justified in your self-defense, but you did have that high-capacity magazine in California. Well, you're responsible for that, whatever that fine is. That fine could be $5,000, but they just spent $275,000 to protect you.
But it's not like USCCA is like, oh, you had a standard capacity magazine and you didn't have a permit, so no, we just can't help you.
Our key trigger is, for your benefits, did you have a lawful act of self-defense? Yes, sir.
Does a gun have to be involved? Say you're defending yourself,
That is a
and the other guy
question.
dies, because you hit him too hard.
So do you have to use a gun for the USCCA? No. The last line here covers for all acts of self-defense. So you could use a chair, a table, a pen, thermos, your fists. More people are killed by fists every year than they are guns. These are your natural born weapons, right? Your car, your dog, pepper spray, stun gun. You're going to set them on fire. Cruel and unusual, but it is effective. I don't recommend you do it, but it works. As long as you're the innocent party, use whatever it takes to defend your life, right? Live. Let your attorneys deal with the aftermath, right? Just make sure that you're following the rules that you're learning in class today, okay? And if the rules change, and they do, check our reciprocity apps. That way you keep up to date with the rules. Now, that being said, what do you guys know about extreme risk protection orders? You ever heard of those?
Yeah, they're stay away orders. They're the ones where somebody, okay, well, it's stay away order, restraining order, but they have the ones where they take them away for no good reason.
You're on the right track. So what I'm talking about is red flag laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody is mentally unstable, they've made claims of, I'm gonna hurt myself or other people, let's stop these mass shootings in schools and malls, and how about country concerts like down in Las Vegas? That's when Nevada became a red flag state, right? There are so many states out there that actually have a version of the red flag law that we as the USCCA had to actually put one of these as a benefit here. If you're the victim of an erroneous red flag law, because has that law been abused?
Yes.
It's a law, yeah, it's been abused, right? Neighbors, family members, exes, trying to get even with you. If that happens to you, you have $15,000 in attorney's fees to get your guns back. Because I tell you what, in the state of Nevada, they come take your guns, there's nothing you could do. They're gonna take your CCW, and then your due process is 7 to 14 days later when you have your moment in court. Now, if I came in your house and I took your guns, and 14 days later you're standing in front of the judge representing yourself, are you going to be a happy individual?
Probably not.
Probably not. Well, sir, that must be why we took your guns, because you're so dangerous, you're so angry. We're going to keep your guns for the next 12 months, and we're going to reassess you after you've done your court-ordered psychological counseling. And if we still think that you're a danger to yourself, we're going to keep them for another 12 months, and you're not getting your CCW back. Now, these benefits, like I said, they're good in the country of the United States and the 14 U.S. territories. You're in America, you're not alone. That is key. That being said, the 3 levels of membership, we're on the front side now. At Gold, Platinum, Elite. The only difference in membership is training. Think of Gold as situational awareness, gun safety, defensive mindset without being paranoid. Platinum, how do I actually use my tools to defend my life? Now we're talking defensive shooting concepts, emergency first aid, how do I stop the bleed? All very important stuff. And then Elite gives you all of our advanced classes, everything we've done for the last 22 years. That includes the advanced home defense. Take what you need, leave what you don't. You can upgrade, downgrade, cancel at any time. We never lock you in. 30, 40, or 50 bucks a month. Annually you save to us at $400, $500, $600 for the year. Is your freedom worth 40 bucks? I'm a math guy, and you all have your own story, your own reason why you're in this class. But let's do some easy math. $500 for a platinum membership for the year. If I was a member for 10 years, how much money have I spent? $5,000. When you hear somebody's having a bad day next week. That being said, $5,000, and I've had all these benefits for 10 years. I had to defend myself once. Is that going to cover my bail?
No.
$5,000, is that enough money to get me out of jail?
Nope.
No. Get an attorney?
Nope.
Expert witnesses and investigators? Civil charges? No, it doesn't even start there. I ask you guys, get something. And if the USCCA sounds like it's an interesting thing for you, try it out. You got a 30-day trial for any reason. You don't like it, cancel. Request a full refund. You get your money back. After that, you're prorated. So if you're an annual member and you've been a member for 6 months, you cancel, you're going to get the other 6 months you haven't used back. But keep it easy. This should be the easy part. It's the act of self-defense that's the hard part. Use the training. Prepare yourself. You got family members, share it with them. Right? Now with that being said, who's got somebody at home right now? Okay, and you're in class. So who's protecting them at home if they have a home invasion right now? Well, if they defend themselves, they actually get your legal benefits as long as it's in your home and on that property the home sits and they reside there. So your spouse and permanent resident family members have your legal benefits in the home. Now if they decide they're going to leave the home and go to that dangerous place called Walmart, I recommend that you carry a gun. Or something, right? To defend yourself. Spouses are always 50% off, right here. Okay? Check that box, get their legal protection, and the training at half the cost. And if you're a current or former first responder, military, police, check the box right underneath that, save 10% for the life of your membership. Right? We want to take care of you guys. That being said, there's a couple things you guys get when you sign up with the USCCA. One, you're going to get the USCCA membership card. I'm going to give you a temporary card today. Permanent card's going to show up in about 5 to 10 days. It's going to be plastic, so you don't have to worry about the washing machine monster. One of the other things I'm going to do special for this class is I'm going to give you the training gun. So that way you can do those reps and sets from our website, right? In the comfort of your own home. Do the low light training in the comfort of your own home. So that way if you ever had to draw your gun, you already know how to do it and you don't have to figure it out in the moment while you're trying to defend your life. And then if you're a Platinum or Elite member, we're going to get you the tactical backpack. Why? Because most of our training talks about you should have a bag that you can go to that has everything you need in it for the next 24 hours in case there's an emergency. I see you got yours right there, right? Start building that kit. So that way if there's an emergency, a fire, flood, earthquake, riot, you fell off the roof and your wife needs to put a tourniquet on your leg until EMS can get there to help you. You have a kit and you know how to use it. We're going to get you that bag. If you cancel, I'm not going to ask for it back, but if you want a bag, we sell them. Don't rob them. All right, guys? Any questions for me on the USCCA? Awesome.
So I hope you enjoyed Sean. Hopefully he helped you make the decision to get yourself some CCW insurance. But like I said, I don't work for USCCA. There's other options out there. CRPA, California Pistol Rifle Association, works in conjunction with a company called CCW Safe. I work very closely with CRPA as well. You should too. CRPA is the California Pistol Rifle Association. Everybody's heard of the NRA, National Rifle Association. CRPA is kind of like the NRA, but on a much more local level. Unfortunately, the NRA works on a national level. California Pistol and Rifle Association, they're working more on a local level, making this possible for people like you, somebody who is a non-resident who wanted to get their California CCW. If it wasn't for CRPA, that opportunity wouldn't even be there anymore. They're not just working for the people here in California. Like I said, they've made it possible for anybody nationwide to be able to now apply for a California CCW through the lawsuits that they have fought and won, helping to preserve your 2A rights. It's an excellent organization. Now, I have a simple question for you. How many of you actually know your gun rights? Know what the different laws are and when they've changed? You know, it is your responsibility as a gun owner to know when the laws change. There is no excuse for ignorance of the law. You are held responsible to know what the laws are. So how is it that you know when the laws change? How is it you know what the laws changed to? Do you get your information from the guy at work by the water cooler? How do you know he's actually giving you actual, accurate information? When you become a member of CRPA, you get 10 issues a month that they do. And they do what they call the legislative report. In the magazine, which is as close to as real time as you're going to get on the ever-changing gun laws, you'll get the cases in California, where they are, what the status of the case actually is. But it's not just the California cases. They cover the cases in Hawaii, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Florida, Mississippi, Illinois. Why does it matter? Because these cases set precedents all across the country. What actually happens in Hawaii does affect what happens in the court cases here in California. What happens here in California does affect the court cases that happen in New York. So CRPA isn't just working just for California. They're working for everybody in this great country. They're just working on it from the angle of helping California and all those are directly associated too. If you're not a member of CRPA, I highly recommend that you do become a member of CRPA. Support the work that's out there helping to preserve your 2A rights. Less than lethal defense. The man who has nothing between a strong word and a gun is a fool. What do I mean by that? Well, when you look at the speedometer on your car, you go from 0 to 100, but you have quite a few numbers in between 0 and 100, because nothing actually wants to go from 0 to 100. You need that intermediate bridge between so. That's where less than lethal comes into play. If you have to utilize your tool of last resort, which is your pistol, your tool of last resort, that's that 100-mile-an-hour mark. There's a lot in between 0 and 100. So what's out there? Why use it? Well, in California, if you have to use that tool of last resort, it's automatically considered a use of lethal force. And unless you fall under the criteria of the use of lethal force, you may well wind up behind bars in a prison somewhere. It's important that you learn to stay in between and to be able to keep yourself out of prison by having something as an alternative to the tool of last resort. What am I talking about? How about some verbal judo? Learning how to try and talk a situation down. Better yet, actual judo or any other form of martial arts. Learning how to be able to defend yourself by utilizing your hands and your feet. Not everybody's cut out to do that. What other options are there? How about pepper spray? Pepper spray is a wonderful tool. I used to work with the prison system. What we got issued to work inside the prison, we weren't allowed to carry guns. We had pepper spray and a baton. Pepper spray is very, very effective. There is not much out there that tolerates or likes pepper spray. But I'll preface it with this. It's not the perfect tool. There are a percentage of people that it has absolutely no effect on. So it's not 100%. The other thing is that it depends on the area that you're in, should you utilize your pepper spray. If we use the pepper spray inside an enclosed room, yes, we've reduced the risk of the use of lethal force, but have we eliminated all risk? No, because anybody else in this room, you are now responsible for their health and their well-being. You're responsible for their decontamination. How many people are in the room? It's probably going to be how many lawsuits are brought against you for utilizing pepper spray in an enclosed room with a crowd. Not to mention the HVAC system. That OC spray gets up into the HVAC system, you're now responsible for getting that cleaned up. That can be pretty pricey, can't it? So pepper spray isn't the 100% end-all be-all, but it's a very effective tool in the right situation. Once again, it's the application of the tool in the area in which you're trying to apply the tool. What else is out there besides pepper spray? Well, there's lots of things. You have tasers. You have stun guns. You have taser guns. But not everything is the perfect tool. So when it comes to the police department, you'll see that they pull out their tasers. Do you know that it's only effective about 60% of the time? There are some people that like to use certain versions of modern chemistry, i.e. methamphetamine, and that will dehydrate the person that uses it. Well, when you deploy that taser on somebody that's dehydrated, it reduces the ability to conduct that electricity throughout their body. Most of the time, the meth addict's just going to pull the probes right out of them and keep on doing what they're doing. So it's not effective. There's a lot of the times where they'll go to deploy the taser and it just goes click and it doesn't even deploy. So it's not the perfect tool. Stun guns, click, 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 click. They're intimidating. But the problem with the stun gun is you have to get close enough to actually touch somebody with it. How many times have you watched live PD, cops, whatever live cop show that you see, and the cops are backing up I know you've seen that quite a bit. Why? Because distance is our friend. We don't want to have to get close. We don't want to have to get close enough to actually make contact. We like to keep distance. So the average person, click, 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 defeats the purpose of keeping that distance because you have to make contact to that person with the stun gun. Yes, it may be intimidating. Click, 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 click. And then your attacker may go, don't want none of that, and back off. But what happens when you actually have to use it? What happens if that person is trained a little bit better than you are, you reach out with the stun gun, they take your stun gun away and use it on you? Let's talk about a baton. The state of California, a baton is a felony unless you have a license to carry it. There are two different folks that get to carry a baton. One, working peace officers on duty, i.e. uniformed cops. And two, security officers that have gone through the training and have the permit to possess and to utilize the baton. Other than that, if you don't have that proper credential, that's a felony in California. It's only a misdemeanor to walk around with a loaded gun, but it's a felony to have that baton. So baton's probably not a good option here in this state. Tasers don't really work all the time. Stun guns, you got to get close. Pepper spray, for the most part, overall, great tool. However, there are limitations. You can expose people in your area. You can expose the HVAC systems. There is no perfect tool. There is only the application of the tool for the situation that it dictates. So, it sounds like that I'm kind of negating all of it. No, I'm not. I'm just trying to educate you and let you know there is no perfect less than lethal tool. However, you do have to try and have something in between 0 and 100. Something between a foul word and a gun. And it's very important because if you just automatically go from road rage situation, yelling and screaming, and pull your gun, chances are you're going to lose in court. So, do your research. Do some physical training. Do some mental training. Get some other forms of training. Are you seeing the pattern going through this class? Train, train, train. It's always good to have another form. It's always good to have something other than to try and bridge the gap. It is important to try and bridge the gap. You have to do the research, you have to do the training yourself. But either way, there is another one that was out there that's become quite popular lately. It's called the Byrna. Problem with the Byrna here in the state of California is that the only thing that you're allowed to discharge from the Byrna is a hard, solid projectile, hard rubber projectile. In other states, they allow for the deployment of a chemical agent, OC powder. It's kind of like a pepper ball. It's like a paintball, but it's filled with, the pepper ball has the OC powder inside the ball. When it actually makes contact with the target, it breaks open, disperses the powder, kind of like when you open up that bottle of baby powder and you give it a squeeze, poof, into the air it goes. It's exactly what happens with the Byrna in the chemical pepper ball. State of California says you can't use the pepper ball or deploy a chemical agent from a projectile in the state of California. That's going to get you in trouble. The other thing is, with the Byrna, it looks an awful lot like a firearm. Somebody sees you pull what looks like a firearm, they don't know the situation, they could mistake you for being the bad guy. Same thing with the police. they could mistake you for being the bad guy holding on to what appears to be a firearm. But it is a great alternative for those who want a less than lethal option. Once again, there is no the way, there's just a way. And these are different A ways to be able to try and bridge that gap.